Hi, hello. Welcome to another episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is December 29th, 2023. Hopefully, this episode finds you well, in good spirits, and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing fine. I'm doing dandy. Work was very slow today. I felt like I wrapped up like maybe 2 hours into my day, maybe three tops. I was just chilling, hanging out. And I told myself, you know what? This is going to be my last working day of the year. Let's just make it a short one. So I requested out, got out early. That was fun. That was nice. I didn't do anything special. We're just kind of filming this a little earlier. Well, not filming, that's the wrong word. Recording, whatever. But yeah, I figured it was nice to kind of just end out on a short, sweet day. Hopefully my little holiday stint for the weekend will be nice and fun. And though, granted, I will say I don't really have any New Year's Eve plans or anything like that. Hopefully, gonna just keep things mild, low key. I'm already an old folks person. You know what I mean? I'm geriatric at this point. So yeah, I'm hopefully just gonna be chilling. That's my game plan. But yeah, let's see here. Food corner was interesting. I did the usual pasta bolognese situation. But I had two of my Boglio rolls. I know I'm still pronouncing them wrong. I don't care. And I decided to toast them up in the air fryer, which I gotta say, it got them the right kind of hot. Like that hit so much better than my little toaster oven did. And I crack them open and I put some chorizo and ham that I just kind of like cooked on the skillet real quick, and put some lettuce, put some dressing on them, put some olive oil. I did them up. I did them up with some lettuce action. It was so good. It was so good. Is it my top five? Maybe not. Probably not. But definitely a meal I really enjoyed. Let's see here. So yeah, I mean that was really my highlight. Was that food corner, because like I love nomming on some food that I like thought in my head was gonna be good and it met that hype. I love that. That's one of my best feelings. Yeah. Other than that, there really isn't anything else to really report. I kind of peaked at that moment. So yeah, let me go ahead and do my startup, and then we will get into some news. Do do. Ooh. Ooh. Also, this is my last glass of wine for I don't know, the period, the cycle. I don't know. I wish I could remember the name, but it was something cheap, some $20 situation. It was pretty good. I love my little red blends or whatever the fuck they are. Um, okay, all right. Our first story comes from Reuters. Russia's biggest air attack of war kills 31 in Ukraine, officials say. Russia unleashed its biggest air attack of the war on Ukraine on Friday, killing 31 civilians, wounding more than 160 others, and hitting cities and infrastructure across the country, officials said. NATO member Poland said a Russian missile appeared to have flown into its airspace for some 40 kilometers before returning to Ukraine under 3 minutes later. There was no immediate comment from Moscow, and NATO said it remained vigilant. The Ukrainian Foreign Ministry said the vast end of the year air assault showed there should be no talk of a truce with the Kremlin at a time when uncertainty hangs over the future of Western support for Kyiv. So yeah, I mean, this is pretty big. Another big salvo. It seems that maybe Russia, unlike last year where they kind of had the bombardment throughout this like whole winter phase, maybe stocked up on the missiles, because that was one of the things that they were talking about, and it was kind of insinuated that, oh, they're running out of missiles. Like, that's why the whole situation happened with North Korea, and like, oh, are they going to be getting missiles from them now? And like, is it Iran that they're getting missiles from too? Like, how's it going to be? And it seems like they were just saying, oh, we're going to stockpile and then we're going to just do big salvos, throughout Ukraine, not just hitting Kyiv. So, outside of the loss of life, I know there was infrastructure damage, but I don't know if there's any down grids or anything like that. I know that's a very key concern in this time of the year when things, it's winter conditions, it's cold as hell. Obviously it's sad. It is a grim reminder that this is an ongoing thing. It's not stopping. It definitely seems like something like this is just Russia sending a fucking message. Actually, I'm just going to take that line and use it to segue a bit. From The Guardian, Moscow court hands long jail terms to 2 men for reciting poetry. Artyom Kamardin, 33, got 7 years after attending anti-Ukraine war protest, and Yegor Shcheva, 23, was given 5.5. So yeah, I mean, essentially attending a protest, reciting some fucking poetry that you made, protesting the war, for just doing that. These men were sentenced to, 7 and then 5 years respectively. For Kamardin, and this is a trigger warning, rape, assault. He said that either him or his significant other had said hey, they came to our house, they threatened to gang rape me, they took Cardamon and took him to another room, they beat him, they raped him with a barbell, they made him film an apology, and then on top of all that, then they put him through this whole fucking trial and then gave him 7 fucking years. For once again, just speaking out and saying this war is bad. This shit's fucked up. So yeah, you know what I mean? Taking my shit all the way back where it's yeah, do I have beef with fucking NATO? Of course I fucking do. But that doesn't mean that I'm fucking hard styling with fucking Putin on this fucking shit. At the end of the day, my man is running a fucking dictatorship, an autocracy essentially veiled as a democracy. And he's using these kind of situations to just make a point. Once again, send a message. And that's just fucked up. You know what I mean? You don't have to fucking do this shit. And it's sad too, because I feel at large, for the people of Russia, they're just who do we pick? Who else do we pick? And then not to mention, we have to go through and shed blood and do all this fucking shit for it. No, it's not worth it. So, you see the show picks that are available and you're well, I mean, of course they're not going to win even if I wanted them to. So yeah, a lot of people do wind up picking Putin, and that's fucked up. That's sad, but you get it. I mean, shit, we as Americans cannot put our fucking heads together and fucking find a better option than someone like Joe Biden or goddamn Donald Trump, which once again, I am just going to segue on into the next bump because, of course, Trump's getting some mentioning. He cannot keep his head out the fucking headlines. And this one's definitely not in his favor, though. Give it 24 hours in the news cycle, and you're going to see someone saying, well, hey, this is how the Democrats actually fucked up, and this is giving Trump more of a platform, more juice, more power. And it's bro, stop talking about Trump like he's goddamn Thanos. I hate that shit. This man is not inevitable. It's been proven he's not. But anyway, let's get into it. Let's chop it up. From Politico, Maine strips Trump from the ballot, inflaming legal war over his candidacy. So I will say I was surprised to see lightning strike twice here. I thought with Colorado that was a big news, ticket item. I know California followed up saying, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to let him be on the ballot. And I still do feel at the end of the day, that's how that's going to be overall. Even if there are more places like Maine that step up and join the example, I think at the end of the day, this is still, in some ways, an inevitable conclusion, that he is going to, be a candidate. He's going to be the candidate. And it's just a question of not, is he going to win, versus Biden. But Maine's top election official ejected former President Donald Trump from the state's ballot on Thursday, declaring him ineligible to serve as president because of his role in the January 6th of 2021 attack on Congress. The ruling by Maine Secretary of State Shenna Bellows, a Democrat, is certain to inflame the roaring national debate over whether the Republican presidential frontrunner should be allowed to hold power again. Now, something I kind of wanted to add in terms of like my 2 cents or whatever. I do feel that like, yeah, I can understand the sentiment of, yes, we know he did the shit as like public opinion or what have you, but like, has he been tried in court? No, he hasn't. So I can understand why, even the Chris Christies who are like, I want to beat Trump everywhere I can, is even saying like, well, no, I'm not going to go on him on this fucking ground or platform. So yeah, like I get it. But once again, I've said this before, I'll say it again. I am always happy to see Democrats goddamn playing the game the way they're supposed to, not against us, but for us. You know what I mean? Like, I hate the fact that you just see these goddamn motherfuckers just be lazy as hell, not move any of the fucking shit, just do nothing. And then say, hey, we need your support. We need your money because we have to stop the big bad. Like, that narrative is bullshit. Like, when we talk about any of these like Marjorie Taylor Greens, the fucking Lauren Boeberts, the Matt Gaetz, at least they're fucking trying to shake and move shit for their goddamn team. You know what I mean? At least they're moving shit for the fucking conservatives, talking that good shit. You know what I mean? You at least want to see that from the Democrats. And this is that to me. So I'll take it. You know what I mean? And for Bellows, she's in a specific situation that she has the power to do this. But even so, kind of like the situation in Colorado that I've mentioned, most likely, especially with the situation in Colorado, the Republicans of Colorado, their GOP said, hey, like, we are going to make sure he's on the ballot, and like, no matter what, he is going to be. You can't like do this until there's a ruling, but even so, he has to be because there's not enough time. It looks like most likely with this situation, it's going to pan out the same way. It's more of a statement thing than anything else, but it's one of those things where it adds pressure to the Supreme Court to say, hey, you guys have to come up with a ruling on this. We need to know what to do here because we feel like Trump is an insurrectionist. He matches this amendment bill. I believe it's like the 14th or whatever. Get him out of here. He can't do it. He can't be a part of this fucking process. So yeah, I mean, I'm curious to see how it's going to go. I do think it is a situation of he's going to be on the ballot. Even in the most hyperbolic situation, more Democratic states stepped up and did it and, took him off. I still think he winds up on the ballot. I still think it winds up becoming, is it Donald Trump or Joe Biden? You know what I mean? Who's going to win? We do the rerun. We do the fucking repeat. And that being said, the closer we get, I mean, we're about to be on 2024. We're about to be talking about this shit all the goddamn time. I hope you're ready. I'm so sorry, but I'm not. Who's it going to be? I don't know. I felt at the middle of the year that it was just going to be a repeat and Joe was going to win. But like, I mean, we've gone through so much shit. We've talked about this shit, day in and day out, quite literally. I don't know now. I really don't. It somehow, even though this is a rerun, I'm still, I don't want to say at the edge of my seat. At the end of the day, if I've lived through fucking 4 years of Donald Trump, I can live through another 4 to 8. I can do it. I know I can. And in terms of Joe Biden, we made it through that fucking bullshit. You know what I mean? If he's not going to croak, then I mean, sure shit, goddamn, I better not. But yeah, let's talk about some local politics. Bit of an update I wanted to get into. From the Associated Press, Ohio's GOP governor vetoes ban on gender-affirming care and transgender athletes in girls' sports. So I am happy to say that Governor DeWine, Mike DeWine, found a little bit of a heart. Decided that, hey, I'm going to stick to my moderate brand and actually just be like somewhat of a fucking human. So yeah, let's go ahead and talk about it. Republican Ohio Governor Mike DeWine vetoed a measure Friday that would have banned gender-affirming care for minors, casting the action out of step with many of his own party as thoughtful, limited, and pro-life. He simultaneously announced plans to move to administratively ban transgender surgeries until a person is 18 and to position the state to better regulate and track gender-affirming treatments in both children and adults. Now, the tracking shit is so fucking weird to me. That is something that Ohio is really trying to, like, be on, like, the fucking forefront of. Like, we really want to see your fucking genitals to know you are a boy or a girl. Okay, I guess that's what my state is a fucking about. I guess that really is good American wholesome morals. What the fuck? I don't know. That's a thing. But I am glad that he at least said, whoa, we need to maybe not go all the way here and just like ban this shit outright. That's insane. And also for the transgender surgeries until a person is 18, that's fucking fine. I've said this before, I'll say it a goddamn again. That is generally like on the board, that's fine. No one is saying like you should be getting a surgery when you're a fucking 12-year-old. Like no, we are talking about hormone kind of treatments that you can take and you can get on and get off, and you're more times than not going, you're not gonna have an issue. But at the end of the day, people want to fucking focus on outliers and corner niche cases and like, you know, fringe scientific thought and say this is the norm, this is the way it is. And if you take these things, you're ruining your child. They're not going to have a childhood. They're confused, and you're just making it worse. When, you know, Mike DeWine is saying here, why don't I leave this more to the families to decide, and we don't get invasive here? Maybe that's a good idea. And on that, I'm actually shaking hands with DeWine, which I'm glad to see, because he had these kind of moments in COVID where he's like, wait, maybe we should do some of these things. You know what I mean? And I remember the vibe. I remember the energy. People wanted to lynch that man for it. And it's just like, what? Like, and I remember being so confused because I really wasn't focusing too much on my local fucking politics shit. And I didn't care about who the fuck DeWine was. And so I'm thinking this guy's like maybe a little bit more of like who is this guy? If they hate him so much, he must be like liberal or something. It's like, oh no, this is a Republican. But it just kind of goes to highlight how far we've come as like American society, that like a moderate is looked at like a political pariah these days. You're like crazy as hell if you're not picking either a radical leftist or you're a fucking dyed in the wool, not a rhino, like Republican. You're gonna do the exact same kind of Trumpian style bullshit that we want to see. We want to see that populist shit, or get the fuck out. Like, it's just crazy how politics are these days. But I mean, that's what appeals to the people, I guess. I don't know. But I did want to read this quote from DeWine. Ultimately, these tough decisions should not be made by the government. They should not be made by the state of Ohio, DeWine said. They should be made by the people who love these kids the most, and that's the parents. The parents who have raised that child. The parents who have seen that child go through agony. The parents who worry about that child every single day of their life. And it's like, wow, it's like you're seeing the Grinch like grow a heart or something. But I know that, DeWine has his limits, and he is still a conservative, and a moderate conservative is still that. And honestly, a moderate is still a fucking waste of fucking time, as I've grown to learn and understand, sadly. Also, on top of all this, like I said, a bunch of other Republicans are dogpiling against him. They're already talking about vetoing or, countering his veto, overriding it, if you will. So, I'm holding my breath. I'm taking this as like a moment of pause and peace and saying, thank God, at least someone said, stop, hold on, wait a fucking second. Let these people get the fucking gender affirming care they goddamn need. But yeah, I mean, we'll see. I just wanted to give this update, and I guess give DeWine his fucking flowers, rarely, but you can give credit where it's fucking due. Let's move on to our last bit. It's a bit of old news. I missed it. It got lost in the shuffle, but I just couldn't help myself. Kind of like with the Lowen Bobert Beetlejuice thing. I had to talk about it, and I figured, hey, before the end of the year, let's fucking get it in. That's a terrible pun, technically, but all puns are intended on this podcast. I'll say that. Let me take my last break, and then we will get into it. Ooh-wee. Oh. Okie dokie. From Time, like the magazine. What to know about Washington scandal over sex in a Senate hearing room. Capitol Hill, I want to say this took place about maybe a week or so ago. I think this was last updated December 18th, but yeah, it was published the 17th. Capitol Hill was rocked over the weekend by the circulation of an explicit video of two men apparently having sex in a congressional hearing room. The 8-second pornographic clip, first posted Friday evening by right-wing media website The Daily Caller, was reportedly leaked from a private group chat for gay men in politics. The report, which did not name the participants and blurred a face that appeared in the video, claimed it was a congressional staffer in the sex tape and identified the setting as room 216 in the Hart Senate office building. Now, let me see here. It eventually turns out that the staffer is connected to Senator Ben Cardin, a Democrat of Maryland. And then, let me see here. What else did I want to read? The news immediately gained traction in conservative media. While details remain scant, outlets including the New York Post and Washington Examiner identified the staffer as Aidan Massey Seropisky, a legislative aide for Cardin. In a statement to Politico on Friday, Cardin's office said Aidan Massey Seropisky is no longer employed by the U.S. Senate. We will have no further comment on this personal matter. And then Cardin, who has spent nearly 4 decades in Congress, announced in May his plans to retire next year. He's like, and on that note, I'm fucking out. Damn it. You know you don't want to go out on that note. Your motherfucking staffers having sex in the fucking like Senate room on like another senator's desk. Like, oh no, that's so messy for you. Let me see here. Mace Seroposky, who is believed to be 24, has not responded to a request for comment from Time, but posted on LinkedIn on Saturday. This has been a difficult time for me, as I have been attacked for who I love to pursue a political agenda. While some of my actions in the past have shown poor judgment, I love my job and would never disrespect my workplace. Any attempts to characterize my actions otherwise are fabricated, and I will be exploring what legal options are available to me in these matters. Granted, I believe, and I learned this when I was listening to one of my little fave podcasts called Pay Pigs. They were kind of breaking it down as they had gathered their information or whatever. But I believe he had leaked his own fucking video on Instagram, but I think he did it in like a close friends kind of thing. So essentially you're like, hey, like I'm just kind of sharing this on the free. But like, even if you do like a quick little like look up on this guy, and this isn't me trying to like judge or whatever, but it seems that he has had like multiple instances where he's kind of putting his lifestyle out there. And I don't mean gay lifestyle, but I mean like, hey, you're a guy who's just out there. You're a little freaky, you're a little naughty, and you don't care. And that's fine. If you want to do that off the job, A-okay. But when you take that shit to work, quite literally, that's bad. You can't do that shit. And to record this shit and like be like, I can't believe we're doing this. Like, bro, yes the fuck you can believe you're doing this because you're recording it. You're filming this. And then you're sharing it with your friends. But then that kind of like spread around through certain circles and it winds up leaking and going like, public. Goes like worldwide. It's viral. That's not good, man. And I mean, look, obviously be an ally, support. But once again, this is not that. That's being messy on Maine. That's being messy on the job. You can't, no one's going to be standing with you on that one, brother. Separately, though, I did want to cover this because this was another thing that just showed me what a fucking spaghetti-ass mess this was. Separately, Representative Max Miller from Ohio, Republican, told the Daily Caller that Massey Seroposky had accosted him earlier in the week shouting, "Free Palestine!" while Miller was being interviewed by NBC. May Seroposky denied that accusation, yes. I just thought that was funny that, like, once again, saying "Free Palestine" is like accosting someone. Whether or not he said it or fucking didn't say it. Like, once again, being pro-Palestine is just like, that's crazy. That's verbal assault. Okie dokie. I did want to go to smash cut to George Santos because he had some 2 cents to kind of sprinkle in here. Recently ousted Congressman George Santos responded to Mayor Posky's statement, posting on X, having sex in a United States government building and filming it is the reason you got heat. You being gay and having gay sex, nobody gives a rat's ass. And on that, honestly, preach. I will say that I think it's more of the conversation of sex and politics just wind up becoming like such a steamy hand-in-hand thing that people can't help but talk about it. It's gonna make the news rounds. But I will say that, like, you add that extra, like, same-sex element, you know that there's going to be people going berserk about it. You know what I mean? Like, the Daily Caller couldn't help but show the clip. They just had to. Like, and then people couldn't help but comment how mad they were about it. But it's like, look, man, I get it. Like, you hate the gays and you don't like their lifestyle. Why did you take time out of your day to watch this and then clickety clack on your fucking keyboard or press on your fucking phone about it? That's kind of crazy. That's kind of crazy if you ask me. I don't know. It might be a little, I don't know, but that's where I'll leave it for today. That feels good. I feel good about it. Let me see here. If you'd like to help out, support the effort, you can today. Become a newsie. I shout you out at the top of the year. In this situation, I say your name. I plug a project if you like, but I do that monthly. And free ways to hit me up, isaiahnews1@gmail.com. And then let's see here. I'm on all the socials you're on. Feel free to follow me or the podcast. And then hopefully you're following on the YouTube. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell to keep up with new episodes, things like that. And you can do that on whatever listening app you're on right now. And thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for being a friend. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.